Coming up, making a splash. Why is water so essential? We have the answers. Then coral reefs explain. Also, what's on your mind?
I want to know about the moon. How is it different from the sun?
Everything you want to know about the moon. Plus, off to the races.
So Box Derby is a downhill racing event.
We'll head to the Soapbox Derby and introduce you to some kids who are learning about racing and so much more. And think pink. Hi, Barbie!
Hi, Ken.
The new Barbie movie is a big hit at theaters, but the iconic doll has been around for a long time.
The #1 Barbie doll is the first doll produced by Mattel.
We'll take a look at the history and why this toy has become more than just make-believe.
This is NBC Nightly News Kids Edition.
Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. It's great to be with you on a Saturday morning. We have a super fun lineup ahead, including a visit to this zoo in Ohio, where zookeepers got a big surprise. But first, some parts of the country are finally cooling off a little, while other areas are still experiencing some wicked high temperatures. And one of the ways to beat the heat is drinking a lot of water. But have you ever wondered why water is so essential? Our pal, Dr. John Torres, explains.
Water is essential for nearly every living thing on Earth, including us people. But why? Well, for us humans, many of the jobs our body does need water. In fact, every single cell in the body needs water to work. It helps with movement by cushioning the joints and tissues, plays a big role in making saliva and digesting food, and assists with regulating body temperature. So how much water does a person need? That depends on a few factors, like age, the temperature, and what activities someone is doing. A common benchmark for water is 8 glasses a day, but that can be a little confusing because we get water from a variety of sources. Of course, from drinking it, but also through food. Fruits and vegetables have a lot of water, so does yogurt and soup, and even my favorite, popsicles. If it's hot outside or you're doing physical activity, you'll need more water because these situations cause you to sweat, which is your body working to cool itself down. Sweating uses a lot of water. Not having enough water can cause dehydration. That's when your body doesn't have the amount of water it needs to carry out its normal functions. Symptoms include extreme thirst, dizziness, and fatigue. Most of the time, dehydration can be reversed by drinking water and resting. In more severe cases, you may need to go to the doctor. To prevent dehydration, don't wait till you're super thirsty to start drinking water. You should drink it throughout the day. Try to make that a habit. And a reminder, hydrating is not just for the summer. It's important to drink water all year round.
Well, Dr. John, I'll drink to that. Thanks very much. The heat wave this summer is also having an impact on an important part of our ecosystem, Florida's coral reef. Our friend Kristen Dahlgren is here to explain just what exactly is a coral reef.
They are beautiful, dynamic, and vital to human life.
A coral reef is actually one of the most biodiverse ecosystems on Earth. It's made out of 100 to 1,000 corals living together, and they actually support over a quarter of all marine life underwater.
They might look like rocks, but coral are actually living animals.
The coral animal creates its own hard outer skeleton to protect its soft, squishy body inside that we actually call the coral polyp.
Corals are actually some of the oldest animals on Earth, even older than the dinosaurs. And coral reefs are supersized communities of these creatures, all living together. And they support the lives of other animals. How? Well, think of a coral reef like a big apartment building for all types of other sea life.
Small fish, big fish, crabs, or when animals want to hide from predators, they have a place to go and hide, or animals actually can lay their eggs out of the eyes of other animals. So whenever you're going snorkeling on a reef and looking at the corals, where you see corals, you'll most likely see vibrant, diverse, beautiful fish swimming and living throughout the coral reef.
Australia's Great Barrier Reef is the largest coral reef in the world. Number 2 is a reef in the Caribbean Sea called the Mesoamerican Reef. And the third biggest is right here at home, off the coast of Florida.
It's 360 miles long, almost exactly as how long the state of New York is. And this directly supports marine life, but also people's livelihoods.
Coral reefs are naturally resilient and adaptable, but the recent heat wave warming the waters in Florida is impacting their ability to survive. Water temperatures in Florida this summer hit over 100 degrees, as hot as a jacuzzi. And scientists say those record ocean temperatures are putting stress on the coral, sparking widespread bleaching, which is when the coral loses its color and gets very sick.
Humans' normal temperature is around 98 degrees when you're happy and feeling healthy. And how do you feel if your temperature is raised by 2 degrees and you have a fever of 100 or 102? You don't feel very good, right? So this is what's happening similar to our corals. The water temperature is raising by multiple degrees and they have so-called a fever, and they cannot tolerate that stress, and so they're dying at a very quick rate.
Marine scientists are worried, so teams like the Coral Restoration Foundation are bringing some coral out of the ocean and into aquariums on land to protect them from the heat. With the help of NOAA, they've even built a special coral bus to keep the coral safe on the drive from the ocean to the aquariums. The goal is to keep the coral happy and healthy until the waters cool down.
Our hope is to return them back to our underwater nurseries, have them grow, be strong and beautiful, and replant them directly onto the reef.
There are some things you can do to help protect coral reefs, like using reef-safe sunscreen, no matter where you live. Why? Because all waterways are connected. You can also recycle and keep trash out of the oceans and waterways. And be careful when swimming around coral reefs.
They are animals. They are very fragile ecosystems, so try not to touch them or pick them up because they're important in doing humans a service as well.
And one of the most important things to remember about coral is that they are living beings just like us.
Not only do they help support life of sea creatures and fish and sea stars, but also they're connected to us as well. And they help protect us from strong storms, and they help provide us food. So it's really important to protect the corals back.
Kristen, thanks. Well, if you're a moon lover, the month of August is for you. Just a few days ago, the first of two so-called supermoons illuminated the night sky as the moon neared its closest point to Earth. The next supermoon will occur later this month, and it got us thinking, just what is the moon all about?
The moon has captivated, fascinated, and inspired us.
I'm going to step off the limb now.
In 1969, astronauts Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin became the first human beings to actually land on the moon.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
What we call the moon is actually just one of over 200 moons in our solar system. The Earth's moon is the fifth largest moon orbiting planets in our solar system, with a radius of approximately 1,080 miles. According to NASA, if Earth were the size of a nickel, the moon would be about as big as a coffee bean. Did you know the Earth's only natural satellite is simply called the moon because people didn't know other moons existed until Galileo Galilei discovered 4 moons orbiting Jupiter in 1610. As it orbits Earth, the moon travels about 2 miles every single second. That's over 2,000 miles per hour. The only thing in the sky that's brighter than the moon is the sun. And one of our viewers wanted to learn more about the difference between the two.
Hello. On Memorial Day, you talked about the sun. I want to know about the moon. How is it different from the sun, and if it is required for people on Earth to live? Thank you. Please take care of yourself and each other. Goodbye now.
We asked our friend, former astronaut Mike Massimino, to explain.
Ryan, thank you very much for those questions. Great questions. The sun is a star. It is a star. Just like when you look up at night and you see stars, the sun is a star just like that, except it's much closer to us than those other stars. That's why it appears so big and bright and gives us warmth and energy. And it's at the center of our solar system. So all the planets in our solar system, including Earth and the moon, which orbits around us, orbits around the sun. And the sun is mainly made of helium and hydrogen. The moon is much different. Scientists believe that the moon was formed when a big object like the size of a planet crashed into Earth billions of years ago, and it shot up lots of rocks and material into space, and that combined to form the moon. So the moon is kind of like a big rock, and it orbits around our planet, it orbits around Earth. Much different than the sun, but still very important to us. So if we didn't have the moon, life would be much different here on Earth. Not so much because life would exist or not, but because it affects our planet. The moon does, particularly our oceans, and that, of course, affects the way that we live here on Earth.
And while the moon appears to glow in the night, it actually doesn't generate any light on its own. In fact, it reflects light from the sun to illuminate the night sky. As it travels around the Earth, different parts of the moon are lit up by the sun. That's why some nights it can look like a complete circle, which is called a full moon. And other nights, all you see is a tiny sliver, which we call a crescent moon. And on nights when it looks like the moon has disappeared, don't be alarmed. It's actually just hiding from the sun's rays. This is what we call a new moon, and it means a new moon cycle is about to start. So, the next time you're outside after dark, keep an eye out for the moon, Earth's constant companion in the solar system.
Well, Ryan, thanks for submitting that great question. And kids, we love your questions, so please keep them coming. All right, time for our pop quiz now. The subject, geography. The question, which state is known as the Ocean State? Is it A, California, B, Florida, or C, Rhode Island? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, time's up. The answer is C, Rhode Island. Rhode Island's official nickname is the Ocean State. The state's shoreline runs 400 miles. And just ahead for us, the Soapbox Derby.
I race down the hill and I like going fast.
We're there with details. Plus, this adorable baby gorilla was a big surprise for zookeepers. We'll explain why. And Barbie Girl, the history, the fashions, and more. Welcome back to Nightly News Kids Edition. Let's head to Ohio now, where a recent gorilla birth took zookeepers by surprise. Our friend Erin McLaughlin has details.
It was a normal day at the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium until something unexpected happened at the gorilla exhibit.
They came out and said, Sully's holding a baby.
Births are usually not a surprise, but this one certainly was. Why? Well, because zookeepers thought Sully was a boy. Did you know? Boy and girl gorillas are hard to tell apart until they're about 8 to 12 years old.
When they're born, sometimes we get little glimpses to be able to tell if they're male or female, but if mom's taking really great care of them, we really try to be respectful of the bond they're forming and we respect their space.
Sully and her baby girl are both doing great. They're being cared for by zookeepers and other gorillas in the group.
Already, our 6 and 7-year-old kids in this group just can't get enough of this baby.
A surprise birth leading to a beautiful display of nature.
Erin, thanks. Now let's turn to our Inspiring Kids series. This week, we introduce you to some kids who are racing to the finish line and learning so much more. We get more from our pal Dave Price.
These kids feel the need for speed.
You can get up to speeds of like 35 miles an hour, so it's pretty fun. There's a lot of wind blowing by, a lot of crowds, a lot of excitement. I race down the hill and I like going fast.
Welcome to the Soapbox Derby.
Soapbox Derby is a downhill racing event. You get a car that's like about this big. You go down a hill with a helmet and a brake. There's no gas pedal.
11-year-old Miles Heller Baptista is competing in his very first Soapbox Derby World Championship.
It feels great to be at the World Championships. I think it's pretty fun.
Did you know the Soapbox Derby started in Ohio way back in the 1930s after a journalist saw some boys racing down a hill in homemade cars? And it gave him an idea.
They had baby buggy wheels. Some of them didn't even have matching wheels. They had crates that they made into the bodies of the car, and he thought that was kind of fun.
The final heat sees a patched-up car. It crashed in the first heat, come through the winner. The driver is 11-year-old Joe Lunn of Thomasville, Georgia.
And the soapbox derby name came from the fact that in the 30s, soap was sold in wooden crates. Some of the crates that children built their cars out of were soapboxes.
From there, the rest, as they say, is history.
She's got it.
More than 300 young people from across the U.S. and around the world just competed in the 85th annual competition.
We have 3 divisions in the competition. Stock, which is for the novice, and that's for the 7 to 13-year-old kids. And then 9 to 18 are in the super stock, the little bigger cars. And the more sophisticated laydown cars are the masters, and that's 10 to 20.
The cars are built from kits. The overall dimension of the cars are all the same.
It's pretty fun to build.
And building is definitely a family affair. Just ask Miles' dad.
The idea is to make sure everything is tight and that the steering is in a way that Miles likes it. He really loves cars, and he loves racing and building and engineering and science.
Kids can customize their cars with their own colors and designs. Dasha Driscoll has been racing for 3 years.
It feels exciting. It feels fun.
The 12-year-old was adopted from Ukraine and has tricked out her stock car in support of her home country.
The 2 colors of Ukrainian flag is yellow and blue. And the girl, she's a Ukrainian girl. She let go of the dove. The dove means sign of peace. And it says wind of Ukraine on my car. And this is a trident of Ukraine.
So when it comes to competing, what are some of the secrets to success?
Trying to pick out your wheels, because a lot of the racing is the wheels and driving, of course, but the wheels are a very important factor.
If you get hit by wind too much, it'll slow you down. You have to stay straight as much as possible on this course and don't turn too much.
You gotta stay focused. If you want to go faster, you just gotta stay still in the car. For new people, it may be scary, but when you get used to it, you should have lots of fun.
But no matter whether you win or lose, the Soapbox Derby is giving kids a chance to have fun, learn a few new things, and put their skills to the test.
I think you learn a lot of patience, a lot of going over challenges like, hey, that thing didn't work during that race, let's try something different. So I would say some problem-solving skills as well. So there's just a lot of aspects that I think you gain through this sport. The most important part for me is the people that you meet here, just the excitement of going down the hill. The time with your family is all my favorite part.
And it's all downhill from here.
So much fun, Dave. Thank you. Finally, let's turn to the world of make-believe. Forget red, orange, or yellow. Pink seems to be the color of the summer. Many kids and grown-ups are heading to the theaters to see Barbie, the movie. And it got us thinking, how did this iconic doll become such a big part of American pop culture? Our Kids Edition correspondent Drew Hubbard takes a look.
Hey, Barbie.
It's one of the must-see movies of summer for some kids and grown-ups.
The world is celebrating pink like never before.
Pink for Barbie. Barbie is having her moment on the big screen.
Hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken. But did you know Barbie has been around for a long, long time?
The #1 Barbie doll is the first doll produced by Mattel.
Barbie was created nearly 65 years ago by Mattel's Ruth Handler.
Beautiful Barbie. At that time, she saw her daughter, Barbara, playing with paper dolls and imagining herself as a teenage woman and doing interesting things and being independent and trying on different careers. And she realized there wasn't a real toy play experience that allowed girls to do that.
Named after Ruth's daughter, Barbara, Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts. The doll was first introduced in 1959.
Prior to that, the only dolls that girls played with were baby dolls. So this is a whole new category, and it really took the world by storm.
Barbie was the original fashion doll.
And this, of course, is the superstar Barbie.
Meet Carol Spencer. She knows a thing or two about Barbie.
This is my first doll that actually came out, and that was Color Magic Barbie doll. And I changed the color on her hair.
Carol designed the mini icons wardrobe for more than 30 years.
Her fashion was slip-on, wrap, snap, and tie. I grew to love designing for that little doll because I could do real fashion in miniature, and I really kept up with the times, so I had lots of fun doing everything that was trendy all through those years. And believe me, that was fun. But she became my muse, the little gal who's sitting on my shoulder, and she's like a friend.
Carol has designed everything from swimwear to dresses to pantsuits and more.
I love poodle dogs, so this fashion got a poodle dog, so I made it out of pipe cleaners and pom-poms.
Among her favorite designs,
I would say Benefit Ball Barbie is my favorite. That is the first doll that bore my name as designer on the box.
In addition to keeping up with fashion, Barbie also had a lot of different jobs.
Teacher Barbie says.
The doll has grown and evolved over the years, and her body type has changed too. Several years ago, critics argued the doll presented an unrealistic message about girls. So after listening to consumers, a new generation of Barbie dolls were born.
We knew that we had such an important opportunity to connect with kids in their formative years and set positive examples. We started on a journey almost 10 years ago to think differently about and frankly revolutionize her body, to make that more diverse, to introduce more skin tones and ethnicities into the line, to introduce dolls with physical disabilities. We've got a doll with a prosthetic limb, a doll in a wheelchair, and to really help kids not only either see themselves in the product line, but also to have empathy for others through our products.
The doll line is diverse with well over 175 types of dolls in the collection. One of the newest dolls this year, the first Barbie with Down syndrome. And kids have been responding with pure joy when seeing their reflections in Barbie.
This is like more like me because it has like the same condition. It's a skin condition where your skin starts to turn white. Like I have some on my hands, and then her hands also have some. So I was like, that's cool.
Regardless of your age, if you are a Barbie fan like me, the movie is reminding us about a toy that becomes more than just make-believe.
It doesn't matter if Barbie's real. She shows girls that they can do anything, and that's really awesome. I'm Drew Hubbard for Nightly News Kids. Back to you, Lester.
Drew, thanks so much. Well, that's going to do it for us parents. Just a reminder, if your child has a question about any topic in the news, email a video to us at NightlyNewsKids@NBCUni.com, and we'll try to answer them in an upcoming episode. You can also follow us on Instagram @NightlyKids. And just a program note, you can catch a new episode of Nightly News Kids Edition every Thursday on NBCNews.com and YouTube, and streaming on the weekends on NBC News Now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember to take care of yourself and each other. Have a great weekend.